Hey, how's everybody doing today? All right.
So welcome to Birmingham.
Oh, so happy to be here.
So Under the Dome this season, it's just finished now. It was a very up and down season for you.
That's right.
What was it like for you during this season?
Well, you know, in this particular season, we see Joe McAlister, my character Joe McAlister, kind of deal with a couple different things than he did in the first season. You know, of course, in season one, we kind of see Joe as this like young boy who's just a good boy who does right by most people and just kind of wants to do right. And then in the second season, we really see his struggles with his relationship with Mackenzie, his struggles with his relationship with not having his mother and father around, with losing his sister, and also with all of the chaos going on under the dome. And it kind of causes him to have to grow up and have to really kind of take that step from, you know, young man to leading man. And I think that's kind of like where Joe kind of goes in season 2.
And it's been interesting because you got this time to use guns.
Right, a little bit.
How much fun was that to do?
Well, you know, we actually, funny story, on season 1 we had actor Alex Koch who accidentally fired, not a real weapon, but fired a blank gun on set. And so the entire second season, our weapons training was very, very strict and very, very regimented. We weren't allowed to hold weapons unless we were shooting right then and there. It was just because we were afraid of any sort of actual bullet going off.
That would have been mental.
I know.
You mentioned that Joe's kind of undergone a journey this season. For you, he's kind of become. It was interesting. The first season he was very technical, was all the technical answers. Then in the second season, he's kind of working more with the teacher. Is it Rebecca, I believe the character?
Yes, Rebecca.
He's working more with Rebecca. How did you feel about that kind of new dynamic that you introduced?
Oh, I think that's a really cool dynamic for Joe, because it's like, sure, in season 1 we understand that Joe's a smart kid just from the way he's set up as a character, and that, you know, he has got a great science background. He's a little techie. He's pretty techie. And so when Rebecca kind of comes back into play and they start kind of doing science experiments in order to figure out what's going on with the dome, or figure out how to counteract what's going on with the dome, it kind of brings back Joe's roots, and it gets him excited about, you know, his times in school. And he's like, oh, like this science experiment I did in grade school, that plays now, and I can use the information I'd learned then to figure out this issue and deal with it now. And I think it's cool because he gets to use like his information and gets to use what he's good at to better the town, to better what's going on under the dome, and to really kind of make an effort to help. And
you mentioned the death of your sister at the beginning of the season. There was some fantastic acting by yourself when you were trying to deal with the anger and trying to not kill people. How did you kind of get into that headspace? How did you channel that much anger into the role?
Right. Well, I mean, everybody deals with things in their life that make them upset, and you just have to draw from, you know, those places and those times in your life where you weren't the happiest. But, you know, I know as a guy, I make my own happiness. Joe McAlister is a happy guy. Colin Ford's a happy guy. But in order to play those angry or sad moments, you know, I kind of tap into, you know, the loss of a loved one, or you know, a relationship that didn't go so well, that I wish I could have turned around, a friendship, whatever, and it just kind of brings me to that place.
Okay, and now we're going to open up the questions to the floor now. So if you have a question, please stick your hand up now, and I'll bring the microphone around straight away. Look, see one hand. Hello.
Well, I'm sure lots of people are waiting to know this. What happened to Joe's dog?
I'm sorry, one more time. Joe's dog?
Yeah.
Ah, that's a great question. Truman the dog, where did he go? I think he's somewhere with Ben. He's got to be somewhere with Ben. Because in season 2, we don't even hang out with him.
And next question then from somebody. But one thing that Under the Dome has left people wondering. Now, the end of the season was very kind of interesting, because you were left, where are they going to go? What's going to happen?
Right.
Do you have any theories of your own, or is there anything you'd like to see happen?
Well, I don't know. I think I love working with Dean Norris, but I think a lot of people don't like the character Big Jim. So I think, you know, some problems with Big Jim could come up in season 3, and, you know, somebody could take over Chester's Mill that is a little better for the town. I don't know, something like that maybe.
And one of the challenges for Under the Dome, it's a series which is set within weeks of it. Now you film a year on year kind of period. How do you manage to keep yourself in shape, the same? I mean, that must add extra pressure to you in a sense, really.
Right, it's like I can't look any different from the last year that we started filming, or I can't look any different from the week prior while we're filming. So, and that's one thing, is like, we'll get the scripts for Under the Dome just how you guys watch it, week by week. So we'll be filming the first episode, and then as we slowly start to finish that week, we'll get the script for the second episode, and so I'm just flipping it open and being, I'm just as excited as you guys are watching it. Oh, what's going to happen next week? Everything's pretty new to me and fresh, and then we have to go create it. So it's just kind of like I'm able to stay in it because it's new to me as well as it's happening.
A question from this person here. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. Squeeze on through. Thank you. Hello.
If you could play or have played any character, who would you like to play?
Besides Joe McAlister?
Yeah.
I really, really, really like Alex's character. I think that Junior is a really, really deep character that I don't know that I would play it any better. I think that Alex does an absolutely wonderful job, but I think that's a really interesting role to get to play.
And in terms of, there's lots of different characters and movies here. If you could have been in anything, or if you would like to be in something, what would it be?
Oh, in anything. I would love to be part of, I don't know what role I'd play, but I'm a huge RJ fan. RJ met anybody else here to meet him? But I'm a huge fan of his, and Breaking Bad fan, and so I'd love to play a role in Breaking Bad or something if they're still shooting.
Thank you.
And what has been your favourite Under the Dome moment from the last 2 seasons?
My favorite moment. Let's see. I like all of the adventures through the caves that we get to go on, through the tunnels and all the misadventures that kind of lead us out of Chester's Mill, but kind of to an unknown place. We don't really know where we're going. Those were really fun to shoot because we built all of those stages and we built all of those sets, so it was just really interesting to see them kind of come to life.
And another film that you made was We Bought a Zoo. What was that like to film? Because there was a lot of working with animals. There was, of course, there was Matt Damon as well.
The Dartmoor Animal Park is in the UK, and it's based on that particular story of a man and father, or a man and son who lost their mother and wife, and unfortunately just kind of had to start over and really kind of find themselves again. And they were able to start up this animal park and take care of these zoos, this zoo that was going to be ran down. And that's what We Bought a Zoo is based off of. And we actually got to meet the real Benjamin Mee and his son, his whole family. And they were incredible. They came and hung out on set with Matt Damon and Cameron Crowe while we were shooting. And it was just an incredible experience. Like being 13 years old and working with Matt Damon and Cameron Crowe is just, it was a dream come true. It's the coolest thing that could ever happen. I still am stoked. Stoked on it. I think it's the coolest thing. I love working with Cameron. His incorporation of music while we would film would really just make everything so beautiful while we were shooting. He would play music while we were working to set the tone for the day, and it would just kind of make it really simple and just kind of ease into the work. It was really nice. And
when you work with directors like Cameron Crowe that you mentioned there, and with some of the great directors you have on Under the Dome, does that kind of spur you to think, well, maybe after acting, maybe I want to be a director or expand other areas?
Of course. Well, I'm at the time of my life now. I just turned 18, and I'm about to start. I'm applying to colleges, and I'm thinking about, I want to act for the rest of my life. That's what I'd like to do. But, what could I do to better myself as an actor? And that includes all aspects of film, being a producer, being a director, writing a little bit, whatever I could do to just kind of better my craft is something that I want to be a part of.
I have a question from a young lady here.
So when Under the Dome is finished being filmed and everything, would you rather go into TV still or go back to film? And if so, what genre?
Ooh, that's a great question. I love film. Film is just something that's so much fun to do. You get the script, how long you're going to be working on the project for, start to finish. You can really prepare, really get into the character. Like I said, on Under the Dome, though, I'll get the script the week before. While I may know my character may be undergoing some sort of turmoil or sadness or happiness in the next episode that I have to now adjust to. And it's like when I have a full script, I can just really dive into it. But I don't know, after Under the Dome, I'd like to do another film or something, but I mean, I wouldn't want to just not do Under the Dome anymore. I would still, wish for there to be a 4th season after the 3rd and so on. But in my off time, I would love to make films, and probably just a good drama, heartfelt drama.
And a question for the gentleman in the front?
What was it like working with Dwight Yoakam? Was there any funny stories?
I'm sorry,
What was it like working with Dwight Yoakam?
Oh, Dwight is incredible. He's hilarious. He's a great musician. He'll play music while we're just hanging out on set. He'll crack jokes. He's just got this. Him and Dean Norris got a really good back and forth vibe going on. They're really, really funny. And Mike Vogel too. They kind of just all crack up each other.
And a question still down the front?
When you were in We Bought a Zoo, what was it like working with Elle Fanning and Scarlett Johansson?
Oh wow, Elle and Scarlett are incredible. Excuse me. Elle and I actually went to school together for a while, so we've known each other since we were really young. And we both never had the chance to work with each other until then. And so when we did, we were really happy because we were friends before. And I was really excited to work with Scarlett because she's gorgeous.
And are there any kind of actors or actresses that you would like to work with that you still haven't worked with?
I would really love to do a film with Sandra Bullock. I love Sandra Bullock, and I did the first thing I ever did. I had a really small role in Sweet Home Alabama, and I had the pleasure of meeting and seeing Reese Witherspoon work at a young age. And I would just really love to have a chance to work with Reese as an adult.
And one of the things about doing Under the Dome is you've got to experience Comic-Cons like Birmingham. What is it like because we all know what it's like for us to get up every morning and come here, but what is it like for you to get up and come to an event like this?
It's the coolest thing. It's like if I'm doing this, I get to answer your personal questions and just kind of figure out what you guys like about the show or what you don't understand about the show, so I can try to fill that in for you if not. But it's also like when someone, if I'm signing for someone and they come up and they talk to me, it's like I get to know what you guys watch and like what you like and what you like about me or not, which is fine, and that's okay, but I like to know that, so it's just really interesting to kind of find out your responses and how I affect them, so that's really cool.
And if you could, with regards to Under the Dome, if there was anything about Joe that you could kind of change or do differently, what do you think it would be and why?
Well, I think that Joe is really kind of, like I said in the second season, kind of becoming more of a leading man. And I think that I would have liked to seen that in the first season, just kind of make him just more like I know what I'm doing. I know the way to go. I'm the follow me. I'm the leader. You know what I mean? He's a little bit more on his toes. Like, am I making the right decision here? So I just like to see him a little more confident in his choices.
With regards to Under the Dome, I mean, as you mentioned, their 3rd season airs next year. The writers have said they've got plans for beyond that. What do you think is the challenge for not just the cast of being constantly left on a knife edge like this? Because many people, we go to work every day, we have a job of 9 to 5, right. But for someone like yourself, you only know beyond a certain amount of episodes. How much of a challenge is that for you?
It's definitely challenging. I definitely, we'll finish shooting and I'll be like, what, we're done? Come on, I'm ready, let's keep going. So that's kind of, it's like, we have a really good time shooting, so it doesn't really seem much like work unless it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're really tired and really hungry and we just want to go home and sleep. But that doesn't happen very often. It's like we just really want to keep going and create more work. It's unfortunate that we can't shoot year round and just air every week, but that's just not the way it works, is it?
That would be exhausting, though, wouldn't it?
I guess it would, but I mean, I don't know. For a while, it would be fun.
And you'd probably get a lot more money as well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, who cares?
And in terms of the second season, you mentioned that it's been a lot different, and with a lot more things to do, there comes a lot more sets to Under the Dome. What has been your favourite kind of set so far that you've worked on?
I think, like I described earlier, the cave setting that we built just really was really intricate and really cool. I mean, they spent our art department spent a month designing them before we could shoot there. I mean, they were huge full-size tunnels that you could walk through, and they just looked just like, you'd look up and there was like hanging stalagmites, and they looked real. I mean, it was just really, really interesting, and I think that I'd never seen a set created like that. So to get to work on that was really cool.
And we mentioned the gun earlier. One of the other things Underdome does quite well is the props. If the show after the third season wasn't to come back, is there any particular prop or part of the set that you would like to kind of just take with you as a memento?
Oh, I like that thing that, what's it called? Hang on, bear with me here. There's a device that in the first season, Jolene Purdy makes and Dodie, the character Dodie makes, and we use it to try to trace a transmitting signal, and it's like this big clunky device, and that's what I would keep because it's just, I used it a lot in the show, and my character had to run around carrying it and using it, so I would probably keep that.
We have time for one more question. Oh no, we can take two. No, we'll take two. We'll start with this gentleman here.
Hi. The story is based on a Stephen King book. The story is based on a Stephen King book.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how the writer's intending to sort of expand on the book? Because obviously there's a start, a middle, and an end, but
Right.
extra bits in between.
We deviate from the book quite a bit. Just I before we started Under the Dome, I asked our writers. I said, "Hey guys, should I? I'm all for preparing. Should I read the book? What's the best way for me to prepare for this?" And they're like, "No. You as Joe you're great." And I didn't believe them, but they thought that. But they're like, "You as Joe, you're great, and don't read the book because you're not going to be able to play Joe that way. You're not going to be able to be the way he is in the book. You may be able to draw from some things, but I didn't want to read him written by Stephen King a certain way, fall in love with Joe McAlister on paper in a novel, and then have this idea of him that I internally would struggle with while on camera. And you know what I mean? I didn't want to conflict myself while working, so I didn't read the book. But I do know that they deviate quite a bit, and that the book takes place in the first 2 weeks of Chester's Mill, and in their second season, we broke that second week and kind of leaped into the third. So we kind of left the book. So that's really kind of where it lies.
And a question from the lady at the front.
You starred as young Sam Winchester in Supernatural. Do you still watch the show, and have you kept up with it since?
I'm not currently caught up right now, but I still do watch Supernatural. It's one of my favorite shows, and I definitely need to catch up on Netflix.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we've got with Colin today. He'll be back with us tomorrow. But in the meantime, give a massive applause for the brilliant Colin Ford!
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, everyone.